What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. I am joined today by my very good friend, John Malahy, because he just wrote a book. And here it is. I've got it in my hands. Rewinding the 80s. You've been working on this all year. This is your...
Yes, multiple
This
years.
is your magnum opus. Well, we don't want to limit it. You'll write better things in the future.
It's all downhill from here.
But this is probably the thing you're most proud of so far, right?
I'm very proud of this one.
Yeah. Amazing. Looks incredible. It is available right now. You can grab it. You can pre-order it. It comes out October 7th, so right around the corner. Yep. But you can go ahead and pre-order it on Amazon, or if you don't want to support Jeff Bezos, you can go to Barnes & Noble, any bookstore that you know.
Go to your local bookseller. They can get it in for you.
Link will be in the description for you to check it out. It is chock full of tons and tons and tons of 80s movie recommendations.
Look at all those pages. Look at all those beautiful photos.
Almost 300 pages.
They did a really nice job too. It's nice and it's not too glossy. It's a little glossy.
No,
it looks really great.
It looks great.
So proud of it.
We are going to use this as a springboard to talk about 80s movies in this video.
Good topic.
Some of our favorite 80s movies. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to have a specific structure though, because we want to kind of give you a sneak peek at the book. So go ahead and talk about it real quick.
I thought we could talk about the first few chapters, maybe.
Mm-hmm. There's chapter 1 right there.
There's 10 chapters in the book. This is sort of a personal exploration for me. I had certain topics I wanted to cover. Particularly, like the beginning, I want to talk about major directors, people who had been working before the 80s, people who were big in the 80s, and then I wanted to talk about genres like action and animation and documentaries and all that stuff. So there's a teen movie chapter, there's a music chapter, there's a chapter on the Cold War and stuff. So I thought we could hit a few of those and just bring up some sort of representative movies.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and knock out the first 5 chapters in this and give like some favorites from each. But who knows, maybe we'll do a part 2 video somewhere down the line if you guys want to see more of this. But the best way to see it is just to go ahead and pre-order it and pick it up and support John, because we love John.
There is an audiobook version available, which is cool. It's a great voice.
It's a great audiobook.
He's a good guy.
If you don't know how to read or don't like to read, you can get the audiobook version.
You want to listen to it in your car or whatever it is.
Yeah,
while you're working out, it's good for all that. So
that's probably something I would actually do.
Also an ebook, so if you're a Kindle person, you can do that.
Jeez, you're hitting everyone.
Yep.
You got all kinds of
all things for
options. All He's got options, folks. Speaking of options, let's give these folks some recommendations.
Okay.
The first chapter is called Old New Hollywood. So this is coming off of the 70s?
Yeah, I wanted to start the book with like a where are we now kind of situation. So it's filmmakers who had been big in like New Hollywood, that era. Because there are a lot of people who struggled. So the first chapter, it's a bit of a downer in certain ways. But there's really good movies, and I think the 80s generally get sort of a bad rap because they get compared to the 70s when supposedly it was this time when artists were able to like see their creations through without a lot of interference from studios.
More freedom.
More creative freedom and stuff. And they were tackling more sort of topical issues in America at the time and anti-establishment stuff and all that. And that changed a lot in the 80s when the studios realized they could just make movies more like Star Wars or whatever and make money. And they started clamping down more on some of these directors. So, for example, like Martin Scorsese, I started the book out with Raging Bull.
Yeah, which you pulled down.
You have a copy here.
Yeah, there it is. It's an amazing copy. If you can't afford it,
this imprint.
It's a little pricey, but it's so cool.
But you watched it the first time recently. Did you
I watched it with you for the first time. I loved it. It was great. Had never seen it. I'm a late bloomer when it comes to Scorsese.
This one, and it came out like a week before this movie, which I'm not recommending because I feel like it's a lot for people. But Heaven's Gate, this is Michael Cimino, who had made the Deer
You wrote
Hunter.
a lot about that. I saw like a whole half page about that movie.
Well, this movie gets blamed, probably unfairly, for sort of destroying the New Hollywood era, essentially. It cost a whole lot of money. It was, Michael Cimino was doing his thing. He was getting a big budget and a lot of space and a lot of freedom, and he went out to the West and shot this big sort of Montana historical epic. Wyoming historical epic. And it didn't go over so well. They showed it in New York, and they pulled it after a terrible New York Times review after a few days, and then they re-edited it, and it was released the next year again, and it still lost money. It basically sunk United Artists, the studio. There's a whole book about this that was written, published later. And his career suffered too. So Heaven's Gate, interesting movie. I don't think it's that great. but we're seeing it's interesting.
Okay, so this is not one of your favorites, but it's...
I wouldn't recommend this one necessarily.
It's great for film history.
Another person, though, I am recommending this. Another person who was big in the 70s and who had a lot of trouble in the 80s for various reasons was Coppola. Mm-hmm. And so this film, One from the Heart, which was his follow-up to Apocalypse Now, which had come out in 79.
Oh.
So that movie, I don't know if you know anything about the making of Apocalypse Now. Like it was...
Go ahead.
Shot in the Philippines, and there was, like typhoons and military incursions and heart attacks and
budget going up,
drug use, and it just like it went on for months and months and months. The budget was crazy and everything, but it was considered a really great movie when it came out. Won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and it was like just from then on just kind of took off and became a thing and made its money back. So.
Okay.
But the shoot was notoriously bad. There's a whole documentary, Hearts of Darkness, that was made about the shoot. It's famous in itself. This movie was next, and he basically he bought a studio lot in Hollywood, turned it into the Zoetrope Studios, and used all 9 sound stages to make this film. He also produced a couple other things there at the time, but this is One from the Heart. So it's a musical set in Las Vegas, but shot inside studios. It was done, very...
You told me about this. We've talked about this movie
Yeah.
before.
Terry Garr, who's, one of the greatest of 80s actresses. Frederick Forrest, and he sort of leaned into the artificiality of it. So it's Vegas, and it's, sort of like expressionistic in its design and everything.
Sounds cool to me.
It's sort of a musical, but it's not sung by the characters. It's sort of Tom Waits music, singing and stuff in the background. So it's a really interesting experience, and I really enjoy it.
That's new, right? Didn't that 4K just come out?
This 4K just came out, and it's actually the reprise version, so he recut it. There's a few different cuts of this movie. The reprise version is actually a little bit shorter than the original.
So John was like, yes.
This one didn't go over well either.
Yeah.
And it kind of sunk Zoetrope Studios, and he basically spent the rest of the decade sort of making films to pay off the debt that he incurred with this.
Oh, jeez.
Labor of love. And he was trying new things. Like he had an Airstream trailer that he set up outside the studio, the sound stages, where he was like doing a lot of digital editing. Like this was before they really had like Video Village things where you would watch the image live from, or we're at the very forefront of that technology. And he was actually trying to like edit the film in real time.
Oh.
Or like call, I need another shot of this, and he would edit that in. So he was trying some really cool things. He was an experimenter at heart, and it just didn't work out for this one. But I think this is a really interesting movie. It's beautiful. It has a vibe to it that's unlike a lot of other things at the time, and it's worth watching. So One from the Heart. That's my recommendation.
Awesome.
But you know what? He also made The Outsiders and Rumblefish, which is really cool.
Also in the 80s?
He made Tucker Man in His Dream, which is really cool. He made Peggy Sue Got Married, which is a really good movie. He had some other great stuff too, but
this
he had a rough time.
Personal favorite. Yeah, and not making a lot of money.
Made $5 basically. So I think I paid more for this than he made on the original run of the film. I think it's accurate.
I like to watch that with you.
It's good.
Speaking of Raging Bull, I'll jump right into my pick from this chapter because this was Scorsese's like big operatic, like epic scope, mythic tale kind of movie. And he goes right from that to this little tiny, indie, scrappy, amazing movie. I love After Hours. This also came out in the 80s. This is like the opposite extremes here. This was, he talks about it as him going back and like relearning how to make films from the ground up because he was preparing to make his other big 80s movie, Last Temptation of Christ, and in order to...
He was trying to, and it got...
Yes.
He was going to, and it got shut down, and then he was like...
And he knew that if he was ever going to make it, it had to be very low budget, and he had to learn how to do that again with After Hours, and so much good comes of that. Like, it's so claustrophobic and limited, but it's so creative. There's so much creativity that comes out of it. It's like this Kafka-esque odyssey where it's like this nightmarish, like very similar to what you just said, like colorful, just stylistic, surreal nightmare of a movie, and I love it so much.
And, it's like kind of, I wouldn't say it's proof that it's good to have limits on your budget, on what you can do, but in Scorsese's case, he really made the most of it, and it's like such a cool little movie.
It's amazing. I highly recommend it. It's got this beautiful 4K release from Criterion. I'll be bringing up pretty much a bunch of different boutique releases as we go through to share with you guys. If you don't have any of the ones I mentioned, I highly recommend them. But
you should also watch Last Temptation of Christ, because that's a fascinating movie. And again, like a lower budget than he had originally wanted to do it for. And
also in the Criterion
really cool.
collection. I didn't pull that one down, but I have it back there as well.
Yep.
So that's chapter 1. Great chapter. If you like seeing the transition between the 70s and the 80s, John goes into depth about that. What's the next chapter called?
I don't remember. What's it called? It's called
Studio Auteurs is what it's
New
called.
Studio Auteurs.
New Studio Auteurs. There it is.
So originally I wanted to have this chapter coming up and then have a chapter on independent film. But that sort of got moved. Things got changed a little bit and it got moved to a later chapter. But this one's basically about people who worked within the studio system.
Mm-hmm. Like Steven Spielberg.
Or in and out of it. So, but people who thrived, either financially or artistically or both.
Who were able to make the transition.
Yeah, exactly.
And convince studios to let them make big budget movies.
Right. And for that reason, I told you this was a hard chapter to pick something from because it's like all over the place. It starts off with Spielberg and Lucas, obviously. So
it's the 80s, obviously.
You know, you got to have your ETs. Like this, you know, I love this movie. This is dear to my heart. So
that's your personal favorite?
If you haven't seen this, obviously watch ET. I mean, what are you doing with yourself?
And Halloween's coming up, so it's perfect.
There's also people like David Cronenberg. You realize this was studio financed?
That is insane.
At least 50% of the budget came from the studio.
Somebody wasn't paying attention. Someone wasn't doing their job.
It's crazy.
They were not on set when he was ripping people TVs out of people's body.
You know, I have David Lynch in here too because he like Dune and The Elephant Man. He also made Blue Velvet, which is more independent, but then he moved on from there and made Twin Peaks and all that stuff. But yeah, some of these people were kind of amazing in what they got made. I have De Palma in this chapter, even though he's technically sort of some people call him a new Hollywood guy, but I feel like all the movies we talk about from him that people love are from the 80s. So you have Dress to Kill and Blowout, which is amazing, although technically independent. And he made Untouchables, and he made Scarface, and these are studio films that did really well. So
this is what the book is like, guys. It's just like bam, 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 like movie after movie after movie.
It's chock full of really good stuff. It was funny, you know, it took me a long time to write it because it's a book, but also because it's like, I want to watch all these movies again. So what is my actual pick from this chapter, you ask?
Is that it? I love that movie.
Well, you know, I almost picked Tootsie. Have you seen Tootsie?
It looks very similar to this. It's got the same color scheme.
Yeah. I
didn't
go with that,
Tootsie in store with me and Grace when we went last sale.
Tootie's great, but it's Sidney Pollack, who had a great 80s. He didn't make that many movies, but he got nominated for Best Director a couple times and won once for Out of Africa, which is an interesting movie. But he's a guy who worked in the New Hollywood time. Like, he worked with Robert Redford a lot, R.I.P., and, you know, he had a lot of hits from the 60s on. So I felt weird including him. This, though, is The Big Chill. And it is not the first film by Lawrence Kasdan, who was a writer on Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, other stuff, which allowed him to do this. But he had also made a movie called Body Heat from 1981 with William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, which is a neo-noir, which is a great movie. It's basically like a Double Indemnity remake. But anyway, he was a screenwriter, who was able to start making his own films, and he directed this movie with like a huge cast. It's total 80s cast.
It's such a good cast. You got William Hurt again. You got
Jeff Goldblum.
Couldn't think of it.
Glenn Close, Tom Berenger, Kevin Kline, Meg Tilly, Joe Beth Williams.
Oh, they're all right there. You're just reading them. I was like, how is he doing this?
I know.
They're all in the front.
It's also, I think it's cool in the 80s because it's sort of like this boomer movie, like looking back nostalgically at the 60s and their time. One of their friends has committed suicide, and that's why they are gathering at this house somewhere on the southern, it's like Georgia or South Carolina or something, right?
I think it's Savannah. Is it Savannah?
It's somewhere around there.
It's this big old house, and they're just kind of hanging out, reconnecting because they haven't talked in a long time, but this tragedy's brought them together, and they're all, like you said, reminiscing on the old days. Yeah. It's just like a nice hangout movie. They all got stuff going on where they're at that age where like their lives all suck for different reasons. Yeah. And they're commiserating. And it's just a nice little
30-somethings, and they're like spring chickens, you know. People your age, and they're going through stuff. Yeah. Well, they're all different places, and they're trying to figure stuff out. So, but I love a good hangout movie. Like, everybody gets together at a hotel or a house or whatever and hang out, and it's like 3 or 4 days of just really intense like conversations and interactions and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's a great one, and great soundtrack too.
We're going to do that.
Chill.
It's kind of set like early fall-ish, so we're going to have a movie night soon and have you over and a couple of
watch
friends
this?
and watch that, yeah.
Perfect.
I grabbed 2 from the auteur section. These are both very recent favorites of mine because Criterion just did 4Ks of both of these. First one I got to call out is Mishima. I did a full recommendation video of this, so check that out if you haven't on the channel a couple months ago in July.
Such a cool movie.
Such a unique treasure of a movie. It is a biopic, but it's like no other biopic you've ever seen. It is directed by Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver and Last Temptation of Christ, worked with Scorsese a lot. We already talked about one of his films, but it's a Japanese language biopic about a Japanese artist, author, political activist guy, but it's done by this American Catholic guy, which is so strange, but he was so fascinated by the story, and he tells it in such a beautiful, stunning, surreal, stylistic way where he uses the actual art of, or the stories, the novels of the man to tell his actual story, his actual biography.
There's like segments like dramatizing parts from his books, right? Or his plays.
And you learn about the man through his work instead of just like rattling off facts about him.
God, that box set is beautiful too.
Beautiful Criterion release.
Incredible art that Criterion has done.
Maybe the best looking 4K I've ever seen on my system downstairs. It's so bright and colorful. The blacks are so deep. And then the other one is another auteur film from another. This is probably his best film. Most people would agree.
Yeah, probably.
This is Brazil.
Most celebrated.
Terry Gilliam. Another movie that he was able to make in front of studios that they did not want him to make at all and they even made him
Took it and recut,
cut it up and put
give it a happy ending,
terrible ending and everything. Yeah. So we now have the final full like uncut version, and there's this beautiful 4K from Criterion. Just an epic satire, sci-fi comedy, but also very dark. It's
dystopian thing about bureaucracy and authoritarianism and office work. Yeah.
It's my favorite Terry Gilliam. I think it's most people's.
So I see you have some British films here.
I grabbed two more.
Because I have a few sidebars in the extended sidebars in the book, like about Chinese film, French film, Indian film, which never gets talked about very much. Mm-hmm. And I have a British film section. I have an Australia section, and there's different countries kind of sprinkled in other places too. But I wanted to talk about international cinema at least a bit because, American film wasn't made in a vacuum.
So there's these little, this is what he's talking about, there's these little sidebar sections where you'll take a quick break and just throw out a couple other films. And one of those sections is British, and this is in the auteur chapter. And I grabbed 2 of my favorites. These are Withnail and I, which is another very not studio film. And then Mona Lisa from Neil Jordan. This is like a crime thriller romance drama with Bob Hoskins giving an incredible performance in this. I love him in that. That also has Michael Caine as the villain, if you want to see that. Yeah. And then Withnail and I is this gritty, grungy little British dark comedy about an actor just floundering. And this is also about a film about transition and like moving from the 70s into the 80s. And it's great. They basically just...
2 actors on a bender.
Yeah, they're just drunk all weekend, and he's just espousing about how his life is meaningless and he's going nowhere in life. But it's a hangout movie as well.
Yeah,
they're just kind of on a little trip.
I would agree.
Just learning about... It's a coming of age, late coming of age story. Great stuff.
Too many movies to write about in this book, I mention them where I can, and I go into some depth on some of those ones that we've talked about, but it's like,
But that's a good mix.
Hit and runs on some of these things, but
that's a good mix of auteur stuff. But there's plenty more in the book. But we're going to go on to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a section that's near and dear to my heart. It is the animation section.
I consider you an animation guy.
I am an animation guy.
Yes.
I wouldn't say expert, but I enjoy dabbling.
You like what you like.
You like what you like. And what do you think about animation in the 80s?
Time of transitions, interestingly. So... And I spent a lot of time on Disney and Don Bluth in particular because Don Bluth had come from the Disney studio, and during Fox and the Hound, he led a sort of walkout in the studio and started making his own stuff, and they kind of went toe-to-toe for the rest of the decade. But there's also Studio Ghibli begins in the 80s, so there's Miyazaki movies that start coming up, like Nausicaa and Castle in the Sky. There's the birth of Pixar in a bit. They do Brave Little Toaster and some short films and stuff, and all of that sort of plays into that storyline. Ralph Bakshi makes his last films. There's a bunch of interesting stuff in here too. There's one called The Wind Blows. When the Wind Blows. What's it called?
Right here. When the Wind Blows.
When the Wind Blows. Gotta keep those titles straight, which is about essentially nuclear war and
dark stuff.
Yeah, Grave with the Fireflies, also about nuclear war. Interesting stuff.
Lots of adult animation coming out of the 80s.
Yeah.
Springboarding off the 70s.
The Plague Dog, there's some heavy stuff in here too. So.
Yeah, we had Watership Down in the 70s, Plague Dogs in the 80s.
Time Masters, they're Rene Laloux, the guy who made Fantastic Planet.
Fantastic Planet, yeah.
Really fun movie.
I think that's getting a Criterion release soon.
My pick is The Secret of NIMH, which is Don Bluth's company's first film. He actually tried to bring us to Disney, and he basically got told, we already have we have a mouse.
We already have a mouse movie.
We're good on mice.
And it's not about mice being experimented on in a science lab.
Didn't you just make The Rescuers? And they're like, yes, but we don't need any more mice, essentially.
Rescuers is actually pretty good.
And he was upset that Disney was Walt Disney had died in the 60s, and ever since then they've been sort of sporadic with their films, and things just weren't quite jiving, and Rescuers have been a big hit, but then they made Fox and the Hound, which again they walked out on during that thing, so it was kind of a troubleshoot. It did okay. In '85 they came out with The Black Cauldron, so this is one that is sort of notorious for sort of sucking and not
just
making
another
money.
really troubled, there was too adult, they came in and hacked it up.
The first PG-rated Disney film, and this sort of came out in the era of those fantasy, fantasy action films and stuff like that, so it kind of plays into that a little bit too, but anyway, Don Bluth came around and started doing his own thing. This one was made before he teamed up with Spielberg on An American Tail and Land Before Time and some of those things, but huge movies that really outshone Disney in the decade.
Yeah, those are. There's a smallness to this one that's really charming.
Yeah, it's based on a book, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of NIMH. They had to change the title because of concerns with the toys on it.
So
literally,
weird.
that's what happened. So it's Mrs. Brisby in the film, but whatever. It's The Secret of NIMH.
It's just a name. It's not even spelled the same. It's so weird.
It's a dark movie. It's a heavy. I loved it though growing up. This is one of my absolute favorites.
It's great.
And basically about a mother mouse who has to go seek help from rats who are super intelligent because they've been experimented on, and human experimentation, lab rats.
There's a lot of crossover with Felidae, the
interesting.
cat movie, which I don't think that's 80s. That might be
I think
90s. Yeah. But this is a Eureka release, which I just bought recently, just came out, and I showed it to my kids recently.
Did they like it?
They did. I mean, it's
It
not
is
like
dark.
yeah.
It's a dark one.
I mean, it's a slower one, but it does have a booklet in here that goes over all that stuff that you just mentioned about him. It's all about Don Bluth. The booklet's not really about the movie. It's about him breaking away and starting his own company and everything. So I recommend this release. They didn't do a 4K. It is just a Blu-ray, and it's not cleaned up that much. You can see all the dust and everything still on it. But if you don't have it, that's a pretty nice little release. There's a lot of, I think there's a documentary on there about Don Bluth and everything, and maybe a commentary.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so it's a great release if you want to check that out.
Two commentaries. Love good commentary. You know what's funny though? Disney then made Great Mouse Detective, which is also about a mouse.
Yep, lots of mice movies.
What's with that? What's with all the mice?
I don't know. It's a good little animal.
It is.
Charming little animal, I guess.
People love mice. What'd you pick?
I don't think I have any mice in my animation picks, but I did grab quite a few. For animation, there are not as many boutique releases from the 80s. You already showed off The Secret of NIMH from Eureka. Criterion has a couple animated films, but they're from the 70s.
Still waiting on Time Masters. We need Time Masters.
It should be coming soon.
There's a 4K of that somewhere, right?
It's in the works. It's being restored right now.
Okay.
So the only boutique that I could find, or one of my favorites from the 80s,
love
is
this.
Son of the White Mare. This is from Arbalos. Very tiny little boutique label. This is only spine number 5, so they're very
You got no
very
slipcase
limited.
for this? No slipcover?
Arbalos' slipcovers they're super limited. And once they go out of print, I didn't find out about Arbalos until this was already to the standard, and that thing goes for $200 on eBay. Whoa. So no, I don't have the slipcover. I'm hoping for some other label like Deaf Crocodile to put this out. They put out his later film. This is Marcel Yankovic. He is a Hungarian animator, completely unique. He does a lot of folklore, myth films. So he does Johnny Corncob before this. which is very Yellow Submarine inspired. Like it looks kind of like Yellow Submarine. He's inspired by the 70s animation from America. And then he goes on and does Son of the White Mare, which is this big epic tale of these three brothers. And it's straight folklore. It's just this big mythic tale, and I love it. The animation is completely unique. I've never seen anything else like it. Highly recommend Son of the White Mare. Music is great. He goes on to make his magnum opus, his epic, which doesn't come out till 2011. He works on it for decades, and that is called Tragedy of Man. Tragedy of Man. And that did get a Deaf Crocodile release.
Oh, do you have
back
it?
there? Yes.
Oh, we should watch that.
It's like
it's super long.
It's the longest animated movie according to your book, which I read. And then these are not technically boutiques.
My friend Sharon loves this movie.
I do want to grab these because they're beautiful releases. Last Unicorn, one of my daughter's favorite movies. This is also, like Secret of NIMH, very dark, more serious. This is the best thing that...
High fantasy stuff.
It's made by the same studio that did The Hobbit and all the...
Rankin and Bass.
It's Rankin and Bass. They did all the Christmas specials. This is the best thing they did, though. Like, I think this is better than The Hobbit.
It's got a great score, too, the soundtrack and stuff.
The soundtrack, yeah. The classic song and the score, they're kind of the same thing mixed together. And it's beautiful. Animation's stunning. Also, I'm a Studio Ghibli fan, but this is my favorite still. Just the classic 1988, My Neighbor Totoro. And this is a beautiful release that I got at Target.
Amazing.
I just found this at Target.
This was released on a double bill with Grave of the Fireflies originally.
Oh, really?
Completely different movies.
Wow. Well, this one's kind of somber too. I mean,
I'd watch this one second.
Missing Child.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch them together.
Yeah, this one's uplifting.
I don't know how they played originally, but I would watch this one second.
This one is just absolutely, just perfectly encapsulates childhood and whimsy and just that freedom that you're talking about.
It's just childhood fantasy, and it's lovely. It's like a warm hug.
It's wonderful.
In the woods.
It's my favorite feel-good movie.
With magic lanterns.
I just rewatched it on Father's Day with my two kids because it's about a kind of single father with two daughters. His wife's still alive, but she's in the hospital. And then this one I had to mention. This is another unique masterpiece from another international director, Jan Svankmajer, who is a Czech animator who works pretty much exclusively in stop motion. This is a stop motion, some people would call it like a creepy version of Alice in Wonderland. It is a very contained,
it's a little creepy,
claustrophobic version where it all takes place inside this house. It's kind of reimagined, and it uses, it's a live action girl who does the acting scenes, but then when she shrinks, because in the story she shrinks, it turns into a doll, and then it's animated that way. All the other characters are animated. I watch it every year in Halloween season, so I'm going to watch it next month in October. Show that one to the kids. It's great. What's the fourth chapter we're talking about, sir?
Speaking of Eastern Europe and other things, geopolitical, we were talking about the Cold War.
The Cold War. Speaking of cheery, fun things to talk about, look at there he is.
But it's not just the Cold War, movies with Russia in it and stuff. Although there's a lot of fun stuff. I mentioned like the James Bond films. There's like White Nights with Gregory Hines and, Mikhail Baryshnikov and stuff. There's, like Gorky Park and Moscow on the Hudson and stuff like that. There's also I include Vietnam in here because they start making movies about Vietnam. And so that also includes the Rambo films.
Yes.
I also have the Rocky films.
Rocky and
especially
Rambo.
Rocky 4, who's even on the cover because he's going to Russia and fighting Ivan Drago.
The most Cold Warist of films.
There's space race stuff. So there's I have The Right Stuff, which is about the early space program in the U.S. There's Space Camp. There's War Games. I include stuff about the nuclear arms race and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things. There's also a whole section on Russian film, Eastern European film, East German film, and all that. So all those directors were in that section.
Just lots of global things that were happening at the time.
Now, I didn't pick any of those movies.
Well, what did you pick? What's your favorite?
I picked the movie that I start the chapter out with, which is Warren Beatty's film Reds, which is an epic film that he directed and stars in about the Russian Revolution. And he and Diane Keaton play basically American socialists who go to Russia to report on it, but also then they become involved in the whole thing. And their friend is Jack Nicholson, who plays the playwright Eugene O'Neill. They were all has sort of a love triangle situation. and other people who cross their paths. But it's all about the Russian Revolution from the American perspective and stuff. It was made by Warren Beatty, by a Hollywood studio, by Paramount. It's like, who is going to take the plunge? What capitalist company is going to take the plunge and finance this thing and distribute it? And Paramount did. So anyway, it exists in a beautiful Blu-ray now. But I would say this is one of those movies that's so long it has an intermission, and I would say the first half is like perfection. And then it has a second half. It suffers from like...
Falters a little bit?
It struggles a bit. And it's like, it has that second half itis thing that a lot of films do. But it's still worth seeing. It's really interesting. But one of the coolest parts of this is he has little sort of documentary segments in the middle interviewing people who were actually... This was made in 1981. People who were actually alive and knew these people, the real people back in the day, and commenting on it. They call them the witnesses. And that was actually part of the ad campaign for the movie, was all of these voices that are actually commenting on it. It makes it such an interesting history,
But they don't appear in the film. They're just in the advertising.
They're in the film.
So it's like a Boss Kiarostami.
It cuts to talking head kind of things. But
wow,
it's kind of cool. And it's actually a very entertaining film on a dramatic level. So totally worth seeing. Good stuff.
I grabbed something completely different because, like you said, you had a section in there that jumped over to Germany, and one of my favorite German films is also in the Criterion Collection. It is Wings of Desire. Look at this. Wim Wenders. And I should have grabbed it. You can see right up there the big giant Wim Wenders box set up there from Curzon. Specifically, Wings of Desire. I want to talk about 1987. He also had Paris, Texas. That's his bigger film. But this one is such a specific movie for my taste. Like, it cuts back and forth between black and white and color, and it is about an angel. How would you describe him? You used a great word in the book. I can't remember what you said. Not disgruntled, but he's...
Let me look it up. Disillusioned.
Disillusioned angel.
Shot in West Berlin. Disillusioned angel who longs to become human and live among the people of the city.
Yes.
Yep.
He is inundated with thoughts of all of these people and all of their problems, and it's such a depressing time for all this stuff that's going on in Germany. And
beautifully shot movie too.
Oh, it's stunning.
But it's like
he meets this human woman who is
alienation
a circus performer.
Yeah.
I guess it's technically a romance, but it's so anti-romance. That's not the forefront. It's mostly about him having this midlife crisis or eternal. I don't know how old he is. He could be thousands of years old.
That's a good question. So Berlin was a divided city. There's literally a wall going through it at the time, and I think this film. There's another film, Possession, that is sort of. It actually has shots of the wall from the West Berlin side, and that's kind of about a breakup of a marriage and stuff, and walls in between people and countries and stuff like that. This one's about the mortal and the immortal kind of having a barrier and stuff. So there's interesting little thematic things happening with geopolitics too. So,
and something else that was happening was a little German director was going to make a little tiny film that somehow exploded, mainly because of the soundtrack. I don't know, but this
good
movie
soundtrack.
Went global. He talked to Steven Spielberg, got it cut down a little bit, and then they released it in America, and it became a huge sensation, and it has the craziest
we got the whole thing.
Boutique release of all time. It's the Never-Ending Story. This is
Never-Ending Story.
Such a crazy release from Imprint. I've taken the actual movie out of it. Right here, this is a huge 80s movie for a lot of people. They've got the little lenticular inside.
Do people know this is a German movie?
I don't think a lot of people don't. I've talked to friends who just thought it was an American movie. You've got the German cut, the original German cut in here before Steven Spielberg talked him off the ledge and made him cut out some of the darker and more violent scenes. But then you've also got the theatrical cut that everybody knows, and then you've also got a little documentary in here. This is a pretty definitive release from Imprint, and it's still in print, I believe. But if you don't want to shell out all the money for that, they have just released, and I haven't talked about this on the channel at all yet, just opened it right before we started filming. They've released the standard edition, which still has the card on the back. This is another hard box. It's not as nice as the other one. It's not lenticular, but it does have a steelbook inside. So if you're a steelbook fan and you don't want all the bells and whistles and you just want the main theatrical version on 4K, there you go. That is also available.
Actually, that one's in my action section.
Versatile.
Which is...
which is coming right up.
You know what? It's
What a
coming right up.
segue that was.
Do you want to just use that for your action
The
pick?
action section. So here we go. This is the 5th chapter. This is our final one we're going to talk about in this video until we maybe revisit this later. But there we go. The action section. Huge. Like, that's what the 80s are known for.
Oh,
like,
totally.
So go ahead. Talk about it.
And honestly, like, not my forte, but I had to talk about it.
You're doing an 80s book. You had to talk about it. You couldn't leave out action.
And super fun. And I go in a variety of places. So you have stuff, I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you haven't seen Die Hard, like, you know, whatever. There's all the Schwarzenegger films. There's Jean-Claude Van Damme. There's what else? Chuck Norris, Clint Eastwood films, Stallone, all the, you know, a couple of Mad Max films that are totally worth seeing.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
All the Indiana Jones are in the 80s.
It's amazing. Yeah. I actually chose one of my favorites from Hong Kong.
Project A.
All, you know, Police Story is also good. He has many. Jackie Chan has many good ones. He was. Do you know his backstory? He was like trained in the Chinese, like the Peking Opera School as a performer, and there were like 7 main people who were like the top tier, and they actually performed and did stuff together. And they appeared together in this film. This is after Jackie Chan had gone to America at one point.
Yeah, well,
they
both of them were in like. They did done some stuff with Bruce Lee a little bit. They appear in a Bruce Lee movie, and then they're wetting their feet in Hollywood, and then
done some stunt work for other people and stuff like that. But he came back and made this, and this is like a historical film because there's pirates in this movie.
Yeah,
not the Arr pirates, but the kind of like
military pirates
in the 1800s in Hong Kong, and he plays basically a member of the sort of Marine Police, the Coast Guard, who is you know, opposing them.
And this is grab the box over. This is a Eureka release, and it actually includes
because there's a sequel,
both Project A1 and Project A2. It's a little confusing. It sounds kind of like a
Project B
math test or something, but there we go. That's a really nice release from Eureka.
Got some really cool stunt sequences in it. I like this better than I may have seen it before I saw Police Story. Like of those 2 little franchises, I think I prefer this one, and it's got like a really cool bicycles segment in the middle of it where he's in these little narrow alleyways and he's doing stunts with.
Oh, nice. It
has a scene where he's kind of a Harold Lloyd sequence where he's hanging from a clock and then actually falls down a clock tower and stuff.
I want to watch this.
It's so much fun, you know? It's hard to beat. So.
And I would have brought down my Police Story because it is in the Criterion Collection, but you alluded to it. There is this little sidebar fantasy action section. So I was like, I gotta pull down some of these. We've been watching a few of these. Arrow Video is a label that I haven't mentioned at all yet, but they have done a great job of putting out several of these 80s action movies. And I'll start with the Sword and Sorcery one.
I was with you when you bought this. We went on a hunt for this movie.
We bought this on camera at Barnes & Noble. This is Conan Chronicles 1 and 2, but specifically the first one is the one everybody loves. It's great. I watched it for the first time with you and another friend of ours because he grew up with it, but I had never seen it. And yeah, this is just a beautiful release from Arrow Video. And then also we've got, so that's Sword and Sorcery, and then we're going to sci-fi fantasy.
So fun.
Science fantasy with Flash Gordon based on classic serials. This is another beautiful release from Arrow Video. This is a 4K.
This one looks great. Did we watch this particular one? It looked amazing.
We watched the 4K. This looks so good. That's the reason to watch this. The story's kind of not much to write home about, but the production design and the costume design and all the fun
the Queen score
visuals, and it sounds great. Like
that shows up in my music chapter actually.
Oh, perfect.
So
this shows up 3 times in your book because it was also mentioned in the auteur section too. And then we've also got another auteur, Ridley Scott, with Legend, which has another big box set from Arrow Video. They were killing it. I hope they do more of this stuff. I wish they could do one for Willow. That's another 80s movie. There was a couple other like sword and sorcery stuff that was really just cascading down through the 80s. We watched The Sword and the Sorcerer. I should have pulled that down.
That's from what, 82-ish? Something like that?
Yeah, that's from 101 Films. We got Beastmaster.
We got Excalibur.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
We got Clash of the Titans.
None of them like amazing or anything, but it's a whole, it's a fun vibe. It's like a whole, it's a setting, and it's just something we don't get anymore. Like
it was fun to see that there were little trends like that. There was also a 3D trend in the early 80s too, which I talk about in the book, and stuff like that pops up, which is fun to talk about. So,
well, don't give away too much. That's all we got time for today. But there's tons more packed into this book. Thanks so much for sharing it with me. Thank you for giving me a copy.
Thanks
by
for
the way,
having me on.
He signed my copy and everything. Is this my copy or is this your
He's
copy?
the acknowledgments. He did a lot more than he says.
Yeah, look at this. He signed this for me and Grace.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, man. It's great. Like, it's such a legit professional. He made this with TCM. We didn't even mention that. It's a TCM book, and you should have pulled down your other one.
I wanted them to do something on the 80s for so long, and I kind of just wore them down. And I was like, listen, I'm going to write this. Do you want to publish it? And they went for it. So.
And you got other books. They're mentioned in the back. I'll put a link to the description to your first book, the Summer Movies book. I should have pulled it down. It's back there on the shelf, but it's great as well. Just check it out. Go ahead and support John. He does all these videos for free. I don't have any money to pay him, so go buy his book and support him because he's great and we love his knowledge on the channel. And always appreciate you giving us your time.
Do they want a copy?
You got a copy to give him?
Sure, I got a copy to give him.
Okay. Well, here you go. You guys heard it. You heard it here first. I should have mentioned at the beginning, but we'll be doing a giveaway. Are you gonna sign it?
I'll sign it. I'll sign whatever. Sure.
Signed copy. Not this one. This one's mine. But he's got another one.
How do they win?
He's gonna sign it for you. And I could do the standard thing. All you got to do is leave a comment down below, letting us know your favorite '80s movie. That sound good? Favorite '80s movie? Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Do all three of those things, and you'll get entered into the random giveaway. And we'll pick a winner and I'll have you back on, and we'll do a video soon, and we'll pick somebody.
Perfect.
So leave those comments down below. Make sure you hit subscribe. Hit the like button. Let us know your favorite '80s movie down below, and just let us know your thoughts in general. We want to talk to you guys in the comments section down there. Ask him questions. Throw the questions at him. He'll answer all your questions down there about the book, and we'll mention it again when it comes out in October. Maybe do a follow-up video to this. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you in the comments as always, and we'll be back with more videos real soon. But until then, keep collecting.